Hello, my fellow seekers. Welcome to my channel, Water Bearer of Wisdom, a channel that covers spiritual based topics to receive spiritual wisdom, insight, guidance, and awareness. And in this video, we will explore the topic of empaths and light workers. I hope this video will expand and allow you to understand it and help you identify where you fall and how to move forward along your own journey. If you have not already, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel to support my content. Your support is truly appreciated. With that being said, I am sure you have come across the word empath and lightworker and have found yourself either curious or wanting more insight about these terms. To start, I myself identify with these terms for quite some time now. This information is from what I have learned along my journey, what I have researched, and what I have experienced throughout the years. We tend to cross paths with these terms when we are just starting our spiritual journey or starting to find and or understand our purpose in this world. Or we have just started to embark and be curious about ourselves and understanding ourselves better. And as we dive deeper, we will uncover other terms, ideologies, and beliefs that will help us better understand our spiritual journey and who we are as a species and as an individual. Whether you have started your journey years ago, recently, or if you're just starting, time is a 3D construct, and in the end, we all arrive to the proper time and space in our journey and be a part of the great awakening that's happening in the world on a global scale. To start, I'd like to cover the term lightworker first, and if you can guess, the word pretty much explains itself. Lightworkers are spiritual beings with the purpose to assist in the great awakening of the human species on Earth in whichever modalities they choose, how big or how small their part is. It is all meaningful towards the bigger picture of it all. Because the Earth is a dense space, we as light workers must first sift through the amnesia upon our arrival here. When we arrive, we don't remember who we are. We have to move through the layers of density to awaken to ourselves, to our purpose, the true meaning and why we are here, and why we have chosen to come to Earth and have this human experience. And keep in mind, some understand and work through this faster than others. It's not a race or a fad or a trend. Those who have uncovered it before us are here to be the way showers and pave the way for others to come, to help aid the human species towards ascension and into higher timelines of existence. Light workers are workers and beings are predominantly light. And I say predominantly because of Earth's density, there is duality that exists on this plane. But they are beings of the light who work with the light. But understand they too are having a human experience. Therefore, there's also a humanistic aspect that comes with that they can also struggle with. The purpose of being here is to hone in and be in control of your light and shadow aspect versus it controlling you. It is what is required to operate on this plane as a spiritual being. Light workers work with light and work through their good-natured spirit. They work with light beings, with God, with Christ consciousness, if you are a believer. And I like to make this clear to you, the viewer. I'm not here to convince you to believe one thing or another. My hope is for you to explore the possibilities and find what you truly believe in and what calls to you. Light workers work with these light beings to bring forth light and remove humanity out of darkness to assist in the rising of vibration and frequencies of the planet as a whole. To give you a better understanding, when we achieve this goal in ascending to higher timelines, vibrations, and frequencies, much of the darkness and suffering will cease to exist and wouldn't be able to withstand the polar opposite energy of light, creating a much greater and balanced earth and existence. The idea is to transform our old ways of being and transcend into the way of light, operating in a more wholesome way of existing and being in this world where we are aligned to everything that surrounds us. Lightworkers is not some trendy word to make you feel special. Please do not think in an egotistic, narrow mind about this topic. Our way is to move away from that kind of thinking. Light workers are dedicated, and once they understand their purpose here, they are committed, relentless, and driven by this deep desire and emotion to help aid humanity into this work. They inherit or already have had spiritual gifts at a young age to assist them in their mission on earth. Many of them grew up always knowing they are different in some way and not like others. Understand, because they are beings who work with the light, this won't always be an easy task. Being and working of the light, light workers may experience and go through much adversity throughout their life because of the energetic state of the planet today. They tend to be hit with a lot of dark forces working against them that may seemingly come from nowhere and that work through other people to hinder their progress on their mission to aid humanity. Dark forces may operate through those closest to us to harm us, to hinder our mission and what we came here to do. As I did mention, Earth is a very dualistic plane that inhabit light and dark. We as light workers must work through our own dual nature and the dualistic nature of others while remembering and working on our purpose here. We too have to work through the struggles of being a human, but most are successful doing so due to their higher calling and inner knowing. These special spiritual gifts are those of the 5 clair senses: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairalience. I can dive deeper on this subject in another video. But ultimately, these 5 senses are heightened and can be categorized as psychic abilities that are clear seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, and smelling. I personally believe that as spiritual beings, everyone has access to these gifts. It's a matter of tapping into that awareness and abilities and strengthening it like a muscle over time. As I believe, these gifts are our true nature that has been stripped away, removed, and hidden from us through societal conditioning. As a human being, at a very young age, we are taught to not trust our senses and abilities, but to rely on logistics, practicality, and what we see with the naked eye, to ignore our true nature, our feelings, and gut instincts, stripping us away from our true power and divinity. Some lightworkers enter this plane with those gifts already sharpened, and as I said, it's to be the way shower for others. It is not a race. We are all just guiding each other home to who we truly are. These gifts allow us to understand and know things through our senses. We as light workers can sense and feel energetic shifts and emotions that surround us and that humanity as a collective is going through. Light workers maneuver the world through light. What does that mean? It means that they understand the spiritual and universal law, whether they're conscious of it or not. Usually the start is operated through the subconscious until they fully understand that concept, and they tend to operate in their light and tend to avoid operating in their darker aspect as a human being. Lightworkers in their true nature and form do not seek or go out of their way to harm others. They do not seek revenge or harbor hate and resentment to others, no matter how much one is deserving of it. They tend to see the soul in others versus their human nature. They are forgiving and understanding beings. Their human self may need to work through that and heal from that for some time, but ultimately they do not. These are human tendencies that they truly cannot understand or relate to from a higher perspective, but they are also somewhat bound to these human tendencies as they operate in a human form. They eventually are detached to the wrongdoings of others because ultimately they understand the bigger picture and higher power of it all and their reasoning behind it. They have a higher understanding and operate in natural and universal law above all else, understanding that things must be just so in order for growth to take place. They do not seek karma for their injustices. They understand the duality that exists and understand, in the end, everything will balance out. They understand that they are here to help, guide, and teach their fellow brothers and sisters by being of light. And truthfully, their mission here holds too much weight to be distracted or concerned about the wrongdoings of others. They do not allow any negativity to hinder their mission work for too long, although dark forces will seek to engage and hinder them from what is important. They tend to alchemize and transmute dark energy into light. Our ultimate goal as light workers is to remember who we are, remember and understand our purpose, and to build the strength to see our mission through for the greater good of humanity. We as light workers hold space for humanity's evolution. Our mission is to serve for the good of all. Now that we have covered what is a light worker, we will discuss what an empath is. Truly, these words are almost interchangeable, which is why I wanted to cover the term light worker first, so that you can see the bigger picture and also understand what an empath is. As a light worker is the broader view of it, and empath is more to describe the individual journey in a more humanistic lens. An empath is pretty much one who possesses heightened senses, as we discussed earlier about the five clair senses. Empaths tend to have at least one of these heightened senses. They tend to feel more empathy than the average person and sometimes understand communication through the senses predominantly, not only with words. They can read people, energy, and environments very well. They are classified as highly sensitive people, also can be known as HSP, where they pick up more than the average person, which at sometimes can overwhelm them. Ultimately, the goal of an empath is to strengthen and trust their own abilities above all else. We can ask ourselves, is being an empath a gift of the few, or is this a lost skill that we have lost touch on due to our societal conditions and our limited thinking of what we know that is true? Many empaths tend to have at least one heightened sense gift, but ultimately, I believe as we work on ourselves and as we grow older, we open up to our other sensing gifts as an empath. Sometimes only one is activated, turned on, as you would say, and the rest will start to awaken and reemerge throughout our lives and as we practice those muscles. As we awaken, we will find ourselves becoming more and more sensitive to our environments over time. We are multidimensional beings upon this earth plane. We cannot simply only believe that we are our human body suit. Some of us just need more practice in trusting and working on that aspect and ability of ours. Many times, empaths grow up not trusting their own abilities until they have learned life lessons throughout their lives, and how not trusting ourselves, our abilities, may lead us towards the wrong path or the wrong people and environments. Some say it is a blessing and a curse to be an empath, as there are pros and cons to it depending on how we look at it. As we feel and sense almost everything around us and recognize the intentions and feelings of others, as what we sense may contradict with what we are seeing visually, unable to turn off our gift and our senses. These gifts may make us feel outcasts, different than our fellow peers that can do normal things and not be as affected. If you identify as an empath, understand it may take time for you to trust your own abilities. It is part of the empath journey because we have to unpack, unlearn, and relearn what we know, what is true, and how to operate safely in this world. Empaths are perceptive people and they tend to see through things, people, environments, and situations more clearly than others. This is because their sensing channels are open and receptive to receive information. This is why some may say that they are sponges and can unknowingly pick up and carry emotions of others and/or environments, which is why we must learn to not necessarily turn it off, but to establish boundaries for ourselves. Because having our system and senses on is part of who we are. All we need is to know how to protect ourselves and our gifts when necessary. Many times we work through energy and emotions of others as our own. We, as empaths, must understand and work on our boundaries physically and energetically to maneuver the world successfully. As that may be the con of being an empath, but ultimately, the pro of being an empath is that you're always able to be aware and to use that to your benefit as your guiding system to be on top and ahead of what's to come. As long as you trust your natural gifts that's been given to you, you will be able to maneuver life successfully and more peacefully. As an empath, we can also experience being the scapegoat, as we also tend to attract our polar opposites, those who are apathetic and maybe narcissistic in nature. Because as an empath, we tend to see through the mask that narcissists tend to portray, in which such people see that as a threat. Understanding that these are huge lessons for the journey as an empath through the narcissistic and empath dynamic. These experiences will continue to sharpen the empath skills and abilities. Some of these experiences are harsh and hard lessons we must work through. Sometimes lessons we must go through more than once to really hone in our skills and the lessons that come from it. These are lessons for us to recognize what to lean into and what to stray away from. These dynamics are mirrors for empaths to establish our own boundaries in order for us to maneuver this world properly. For one to be an empath in this world, one must truly be awake and no longer asleep. Other empaths will be quick to recognize other empaths through the recognition in the eyes. It does not need to be told through words. They already sense and know it and sense the kinship in one another, usually upon first meeting. Being an empath is truly a gift, as they too are also the way showers for others, as light workers are seen to be. They are teachers, a guiding light, and a mirror for others on how to become a better person and how to truly operate in this world. It is a way to rise from our own selfishness and the material world and to ground into the energy of light, our own essence, and to recognize we are all connected for a higher purpose to aid the development and evolution of humanity and the earth plane. Ultimately, to also recognize the power that we hold, that we possess as an individual, as a spiritual being, and how we can utilize that kind of power for the greater good. Thanks for listening and receiving this message. This is my take and my experience on this topic. Please take what you need and let go of the rest. And if you have enjoyed this content and it resonates, please support in any way you can. If this message struck a chord, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I wish for all to find what they're seeking. And until next time.